Today is the second day of the topic neural control and coordination in human. Today I will discuss about neuron, its structure, what are the various types of neuron and what are the functions of neuron. First we have to understand what is neuron. Neuron is the structural and functional unit of the neural system. Neural system is also known as nervous system. So we can say that neuron is the structural and functional unit of neural system or nervous system. A neuron, which is also known as nerve cell, is a microscopic structure composed of three major parts. What are those three parts? Cell body, number 2 dendron and dendrites, and number 3 axon. Now the cell body is also known as cyton or soma. So the first part is cell body, which is also known as cyton or soma. The next part is dendron or dendrites. What is the difference between dendron and dendrites? Dendron is a single primary branch that arises directly from the cyton, whereas the dendrites are the smaller branches that split off from the dendron. So dendron is a single primary branch that arises directly from the cyton or cell body, whereas the dendrites are the smaller branches that split off from the dendron. And the last major part is axon, which is also known as a nerve fiber. So a neuron, which is a microscopic structure, is composed of three major parts: cell body, which is also known as cyton or soma, dendron and dendrites, and the last one is axon. Now the cell body contains cytoplasm with typical cell organelles like nucleus, mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, endoplasmic reticulum, lysosomes and peroxisomes. The cytoplasm of the cell body and the cytoplasm of the dendrons contains certain granular bodies which are called Nissel's granules. What I have said, the cytoplasm of the cell body and the cytoplasm of the dendrons contain certain granular bodies which are called Nissel's granules. However, Nissel's granules are completely absent in the dendrites. In the NCERT, you will find that it is written that Nissel's granules are also present in dendrites, but it is not correct, because in the NCERT they had mentioned only dendrites. They didn't give any concept on dendron. But there is a little difference between dendron and dendrites. Dendron is a single primary branch that arises directly from the cyton, whereas dendrites are the smaller branches that split up from the dendron. But in NCERT, they have considered dendron or dendrites as same, and they have mentioned the terminology as dendrites. Therefore, they have mentioned in NCERT that Nissel's granules are present in dendrites, but it is not true. Nissel's granules are completely absent in dendrites. The Nissel's granules are present in the dendrons and obviously in the cytoplasm of the cell body too. The primary function of Nissel's granules is protein synthesis. They synthesize peptide-based neurotransmitters which are required for sending signals across the synapses. They also manufacture metabolic enzymes which are required to generate cellular energy and sustain basic cell life. Here we need to understand one thing, that Nissel's granules are not present in the axons. Since Nissel's granules are completely absent in the axons, therefore axons need to rely entirely on the proteins manufactured by the Nissel's granules which are present in the cytoplasm of the cyton. These proteins are then transported down the axon's length. Now, Nissel's granules also produce protein for structural repair. Dendrites and dendrons always transmit impulses towards the cell body. This is one-way transmission, and this one-way transmission is called centripetal conduction. Centripetal conduction, that is the one-way transmission from dendrites and dendrons towards the cell body. Dendrites are designed to receive the chemical signals. The signals travel from axon of one neuron to the dendrite of the next neuron, maintaining a one-way transmission. What I have said, signal travels from the axon of the one neuron to the dendrite of the next neuron, maintaining a one-way transmission. Now, the axon is a long fiber and the distal end of this axon is branched. Each branch terminates as a bulb-like structure which are called a synaptic knob. The synaptic knob possesses synaptic vesicles, and these synaptic vesicles contains chemicals which are called neurotransmitters. The axon transmit nerve impulses away from the cell body either to a synapse or to a neuromuscular junction. So dendrites and dendron transmit impulses towards the cell body, whereas axon transmit nerve impulses away from the cell body, and they transmit these nerve impulses either to a synapse or to a neuromuscular junction. Depending on the number of extensions, which are also called processes, neurons are divided into three types. They are unipolar neuron, bipolar neuron and multipolar neuron. Uni means one, bi means two, and multi means more than two. So depending upon the number of extensions, which are also called processes, so depending upon the number of processes, neurons are divided into three types. They are unipolar neurons, bipolar neurons and multipolar neurons. Now I will discuss each type in a bit details. What are unipolar neurons? What are bipolar neurons? And what are multipolar neurons? In unipolar neuron, only one single process extends from the cell body of the neuron. This single process then split into two branches. One acts as an axon and the rest as a dendrite. Such neurons, that is unipolar neurons, are found usually in the embryonic stage. Now we will discuss about bipolar neurons. As the name implies, bipolar neurons means two processes extend from the cell body of the neuron in opposite sides. One acts as an axon and the other acts as dendron or dendrite. Now, bipolar neurons are found in the retina of eye. Now we will discuss about multipolar neurons. As the name implies, multipolar neurons means there are more than two or many processes which extend from the cell body of the neuron. So in multipolar neurons, more than two or many processes extend from the cell body of the neurons, out of which one forms the single long axon while others form the multiple dendrons or dendrites. Multipolar neurons are found in cerebral cortex. Now, depending upon the presence or absence of a myelin sheath, axons can be classified as myelinated axon and non-myelinated axon respectively. Myelinated axons are more efficient and the conduction speed is extremely fast, whereas non-myelinated axons are comparatively less efficient and the conduction speed is relatively slow. In the central nervous system, myelinated axons form the white matter tracts of the brain and spinal cord. Here they are myelinated by the cells called oligodendrocytes. However, in the peripheral nervous system, myelinated axons make up the bulk of the cranial and spinal nerves. Here they are myelinated by Schwann cells. Myelin sheath around the axon provides electrical insulation. In myelinated neuron, the axon of that neuron is covered by myelin sheath. Myelin sheath around the axon provides electrical insulation irrespective of whether it is formed by oligodendrocytes or Schwann cells. Non-myelinated axons are used for short distance communication or for signals that do not require emergency speed. As in case of dissection, it does not require any emergency speed. Now, in the central nervous system, non-myelinated axons are found extensively in the grey matter of the brain and spinal cord. However, in the peripheral nervous system, non-myelinated axons are highly prevalent in the autonomic nervous system, which regulates involuntary actions like heart rate and dissection, which we have discussed in our previous class. So in the peripheral nervous system, non-myelinated axons are highly prevalent in the autonomic nervous system, which regulates involuntary actions. Here it is to be noted that in the peripheral nervous system, non-myelinated axons are never left completely bare or exposed to the surrounding tissue. They might not have a thick wrapping of insulation, but they possess one non-myelinating Schwann cell as a soft cushion. However, in the central nervous system, oligodendrocytes are not present on any non-myelinated axon. Thus, the small non-myelinated axon making up the grey matter of the brain and spinal cord run completely bare through the tissue. Now I will discuss about nodes of Ranvier. What are nodes of Ranvier? Nodes of Ranvier are the microscopic uninsulated gaps or spaces found at regular intervals along a myelinated axon. At the specific gaps, axon cell membrane is completely bare and exposed to the surrounding extracellular fluid. Nodes of Ranvier are found only in myelinated axon. In the central nervous system, nodes of Ranvier are present on the myelinated axon where myelin sheaths are formed by oligodendrocytes. Similarly, in the peripheral nervous system, nodes of Ranvier are present on the myelinated axon where myelin sheaths are formed by Schwann cells. So this is all about neuron. We have already discussed about the structure of neuron, what are the various types of neuron and what are the functions of neuron.